Millions of South Africans have welcomed the Springboks back home after basking in the glory of clinching their record fourth World Cup title. But there's been widespread outcry over the Boks tour. Of course, the four-time champions will embark on a countrywide parade when they will be showcasing the Webb Ellis Trophy, but not all parts of the country will get to meet the Boks. eNCA reports Ronald Masinda is out in East London for us, and he joins us now live for more. Fortunately, East London, one of those places where the Boks will be visiting Ronald Masinda, and that will be on Sunday, where they will be ending off this nationwide tour of the Webb Ellis Trophy. We know that the Eastern Cape, known for the land of politics and rugby, and our very own Siya Kolisi, he's from the Eastern Cape. Rassie Erasmus is from the Eastern Cape. But, the people there in East London, rugby is pretty big there as well. They probably can't wait to meet the Springboks.
Yes, indeed, and plans are afoot to ensure that the trophy tour becomes a resounding success. In fact, we are outside of the City Hall where a meeting is taking place inside of this venue where the Buffalo City Metro and other stakeholders are discussing plans, logistical plans ahead of this big occasion on Sunday. Now, of course, it is a shortened trophy tour for about 4 days, and some of the venues and cities are Johannesburg, Pretoria, Soweto, Durban and Cape Town. And here, East London is also fortunate enough to host this trophy tour. But unfortunately, the people of Gqeberha are up in arms. They feel that Gqeberha has a rich rugby culture, and being the economic hub of the province, that Gqeberha deserves to host this Rugby World Cup tour. Now, let's take a listen to what Tim Dlulane had to say. He's a former Springbok when I asked him the question about this rugby tour being hosted here in East London.
History has been made. I think it matters in a way, and I think Nelson Mandela Bay, it's unfortunate, but you have to understand the selection of the distance. I think Nelson Mandela Bay is about 200 k's out of East London, but what I believe SA Rugby's selection was, who is in the team that has an impact within the communities, which is coming in with the Eastern Cape. We are fortunate to have Mampimbi, Lucanio M on that team, and then so not being cheeky, and say it will be about time for Nelson Mandela Bay and to have a Springbok in the team. They were knowing that now in the planning you are going home, you are taking the cup home. I think that is their selection.
Okay, we heard from former Springbok Tim Dlulane. Let's get more reaction now from the ANC in the province. Prakift, thank you so much indeed for your time. You are not happy with this decision.
Look, let me welcome the viewers who are watching at home. Look, first and foremost, we welcome the decision that the tour must come to Buffalo City, but we don't welcome the decision by SARU not to take the victory tour to Nelson Mandela Bay, because as you know, and South Africans know, that Nelson Mandela Bay has got a rich history when it comes to black rugby. And this is affirmed by the fact that we've got a captain of the Springboks coming from Gqeberha. We've got an assistant coach of the Springboks coming from Gqeberha. We've got a coach coming from Gqeberha. And part of the technical team is also coming from Gqeberha. Your Dion Davis, who once coached the Southern Kings in Nelson Mandela Bay. So we view this as a snub to the people of Nelson Mandela Bay, looking at the role that they've played in terms of transformation of rugby, in particular when rugby was uniformed in 1991 with the formation of SARU. And secondly, we have the view that this is just a snap by SARU leadership because of the shenanigans or some of the squabbles that they have, or a tug of war that they have with the leadership of the Eastern Province Rugby Union in Port Elizabeth.
But in reaction, SA Rugby did say that this will be a shortened tour, given that the players have been involved. Brakif, don't shake your head. Given that the players have been involved in 21 weeks of intense competition, why aren't you buying that excuse?
Look, we don't buy that. We don't buy that as people of Gqeberha, because how do you take a tour to Johannesburg and you also take a tour to Soweto? Because Soweto and Johannesburg is one of the same place. You still take the tour to Tshwane, because those three areas are in the same radius of kilometers, and you ignore a place which has got a rich history, which is called Nelson Mandela Bay. That's why we view this as a very snap to the people of Nelson Mandela Bay. I mean, everyone who resides in Nelson Mandela Bay expected that the victory tour will go to PE because the captain will be lifting that trophy, and unfortunately SARU decided to snub it. And we view that these are just politics of SARU, nothing else.
Why do you think it's politically motivated?
No, these are politics of SARU, because look, if you know for a fact for the past 3 to 4 years, there's not been any tour or test match that involves Springboks in Gqeberha, and the reason is because of the troubles that are within SARU and EPRU leadership. And those squabbles are dating back during even the time of Chiki Watson, and including the suspended the president of Eastern Province Rugby Union, who has been banned for almost 2 years. We know for a fact that these are the reasons, nothing else, because they don't want to involve themselves with the leadership of the Eastern Province Rugby Union in Port Elizabeth. And that must not affect the citizens of Nelson Mandela who want to see the Springboks lifting the trophy, in particular the captain and the coach and the assistant coach coming from the same place of Gqeberha.
Don't you think, though, that this uproar is in bad timing? The team has just arrived from the Rugby World Cup, and they've been very successful at it.
No, not at all. Not at all. Remember, South Africans were united in supporting the Springboks, black, colored, Indian. Everyone was united because we view this as something that is going to inspire social cohesion in the country, considering the challenges that are faced by the country, considering also the challenges that are faced by Nelson Mandela Bay. And we view this was going to unite the people of Gqeberha. If you have watched the game at Bay West Mall on last Saturday, there were thousands of people watching black, colored, Indian in support of the Springboks, because they had an expectation that when the Springboks win and lift that trophy, it's going to come to Nelson Mandela Bay. For record, if you recall, in the Victory Parade of 2019, an area called Youthnik and Dispatch was not included in there up until we made the noise. And that's why even today we are making that noise, that if they are not part of this itinerary for this coming weekend, they must be included in the next weekend, not in 2024, because there's no longer a hype in 2024.
But they made the promise that 2024, some of the areas will be covered.
No, we don't.
Why aren't we hearing the same uproar in Bloemfontein, in Mpumalanga and other areas?
You cannot compare Nelson Mandela Bay and Bloemfontein, because I've stated before that Nelson Mandela Bay has got a rich history when it comes to black rugby. The first black rugby team that was formed in Gqeberha in 1878, and the other one, which is Lily White, was formed in Grahamstown. The Orientals, your Spring Rose, these are the teams that were formed before 1900 in Gqeberha. So it tells you that that area has got a rich history when it comes to rugby, and the people of that area expected that they will see the Springboks again lifting that trophy. For the record, the Springboks were the defending champions, and Siya Kolisi, coming from Gqeberha, lifted that cup in 2019. And this is the history when Siya Kolisi again lifted that cup last Saturday. So this has inspired many young people who are coming from the disadvantaged areas of Gqeberha. Many areas of Nelson Mandela Bay, including Dispatch and Youthnik, expected that they will see that cup during the victory. Unfortunately, leadership of Saudi decided to snap us. And I mean, if the broader community of Gqeberha, including your business chamber, are supporting this call, who are we? Because we're the leader of society. We must support that call, because 80% of the community of Nelson Mandela Bay want the victory tour in Nelson Mandela Bay.
Lastly, I understand that there are petitions being signed, and it's unlikely that Nelson Mandela Bay will get a victory tour.
But I can tell you, we are going to win that war. Victory certain. And we are not going to wait for 2024. That victory tour is going to come to Nelson, even if it's next week, even if it's in 2 weeks' time. But we know for a fact that we are going to fight to make sure that the victory tour goes to Nelson, because people of Nelson Mandela Bay want to see that cup being lifted in the sky by Siya Kolisi and Rase Erasmus.
All right, well, that's a reaction, Baron, from the ANC here in the province. We do know that the Nelson Mandela Bay Mayor himself has also questioned as to why Nelson Mandela Bay has been denied this opportunity. So we will get more reaction and also get an update perhaps as to how plans are going in terms of the planning for Sunday's victory tour.
All right, thank you so much. That's our eNCA reporter, Ronald Masinda, in the Eastern Cape, East London. Of course, Gqeberha wants the trophy to come to them. They say it's owed to them, and rightfully so, to feel that way. A rich history of rugby there in that city. We know that Rassie Erasmus and Siya Kolisi both are from the Nelson Mandela Metro Dispatch, Gqeberha. So hopefully something could be sorted out. But we know that there are smaller tours planned for next year, 2024, but the wait is too long for the people of Gqeberha.